If your knees hurt, then here are 4 key moves and steps that you need to take to make your knees feel good and healthy again. Knee pain is so frustrating. Trust me, I get it. I've had 2 devastating knee injuries and 5 knee surgeries. And yet, after a couple decades of learning the right movements and stretches, I can do pretty much whatever I want with my lower body again in a way that's mostly pain-free. And a lot of people, they don't ever learn this stuff. And so you end up with a tight joint that doesn't bend all the way, muscles that don't work properly, and you end up not being able to do things that you love to do again. And daily tasks even get challenging as well. Walking up and down stairs can be painful, and every time you even stand up from a chair, you're reminded that your knees hurt. And so, if you really want to fix it, then follow these 4 steps, the same steps that I take to fix my knees and make them feel amazing. Now, the first step is to restore full range of motion in the knee joint. Now, for some people, this may not be fully possible, but for pretty much everybody, you can gain range of motion with the movement I'm about to show you. And the reason why that people get stuck not being able to bend their knees is over time, scar tissue lays down, and instead of your tibia gliding smoothly underneath your femur like this, it gets compressed and it starts to pull and cramp against each other just like this. The bones are literally smashing into each other. So in order to fix this, we do something called gap the knee, which creates space between the bones, allowing them to slide smoothly again, making your knee joint feel better and creating more range of motion so you can do the things you want to do with your knees again in your daily life. Here's how to do it. First, you need a towel or a pillow, something rolled up that's nice and thick like this. What you're gonna do is place that towel or pillow behind your knee joint right here, like this. Now pull up against it because we're trying to create space right here in the joint of the knee. Now you're gonna bring your knee forward in the same direction as your toes, and what you'll feel is the towel pushing the bones apart inside the knee joint. And all you wanna do is just go forward and backward, a little bit like this, to try and create a little bit more space in the knee. And what you'll notice is if you practice this movement every day, over time, you're gonna gain more and more range of motion in the knee joint. Eventually, once that starts to feel like you've got pretty good range of motion, you can start working on holding the bottom of a squat again. And you can do this again by putting the towel behind your knee like this and allowing those bones to push against each other to create more space. Or sometimes when I wake up in the morning and I don't have a towel and I really want to loosen up that knee, I just swing my forearm under my knee like this and I press up against it and I use my forearm as the lever to create space inside the knee joint. You want to practice this move every day, and eventually you'll be able to relax into a deep squat position because you've restored full range of motion in your knee again. But again, this is a long journey. This doesn't happen overnight. It can take months or even years to restore your full range of motion. But if you do this for just 60 seconds a day, wouldn't it be worth it to restore your full range of motion and make your knees feel so much better? The answer is an absolute yes. So practice restoring range of motion every single day, and then do the next step. The second step is to activate 2 of the most important muscles in your lower body, your quads and your glutes. When your quads and your glutes work together, guess what happens? You restore your knees function and your knees feel so much better. Because when you do things like squats or even bending over to pick something up off the ground like this, you're loading these muscles properly. And there's one move that I like that activates both of these muscles at the same time. And it's important that you do this move in a comfortable way. So you can do this on a couch, on a cushion, on a bed, but I'm gonna show you on the floor. I'm gonna put a pillow down to put my knee on top of, okay? So whatever you need to do to keep your knee comfortable, that's what we wanna focus on. So you're gonna come down to a kneeling position, and here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna open your hip so that this leg is pointing this direction, and this leg is pointing this direction, almost at a 90-degree angle. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna focus on putting your back toes down into the ground like this, okay? And push the toes into the ground the whole time. The moment we do that, you're gonna start to feel your quad muscles shaking. This is the quad activating. Now what we wanna do now is learn how to pair the glute with the quad to facilitate hip and knee movement. But it's really simple. All you're gonna do is this. You're just gonna slowly bring your butt back down towards your heel, only as far as you feel 100% comfortable, while still pushing your toes in the ground. Then you're gonna push the toes in the ground and squeeze this glute muscle, squeeze the glute muscle to drive the hips forward. You're gonna slowly come down as we inhale, push the toes in the ground, squeeze the glute muscle, exhale, and really squeeze the glute muscle at the top as you fully extend that hip. Now, if you have one knee that's weaker or more painful than the other knee, then start with your strong knee. Pay close attention to how this movement feels. And when you go to your weaker knee, you can use the strong knee as the teacher for your weaker knee. but you want to practice this on both sides every day for at least 1 minute. And when you do, you'll activate those quad muscles and those glute muscles, which will help you restore the ability to do things you want to do in your daily life again, pain-free. Once you do this, go to the third step. The third step is big, and this one's really important because this can change the way that your knees feel in a matter of seconds. This step is to learn how to load your hips rather than your knees. You see, when most people do things like stand up from a chair, what they do is they push their feet down, they roll their knees forward, and they try to lift their head toward the sky. And when the knees come forward over the toes and we don't have healthy or strong knees, it can cause knee pain because we're asking the majority of the movement to happen at the knee joint. But the knee joint is a small joint, and the hip joint is a much stronger joint, especially if we know how to pair the quads and the glutes to facilitate hip extension like we just did. So instead of bringing your knees forward like this and pushing through the knees, we want to teach you how to extend through the hips. You can practice this by sitting into a chair and standing back up over and over again with perfect form. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to start in a chair, bring our feet slightly outside of hip width, toes slightly turned outward. It's really important to pay attention to the alignment of your knees. They should be pointing the same direction as your toes the entire time you do this movement. They shouldn't be wobbling in like this. But here's the really important part. Instead of trying to swing your body forward and bring your knees forward, we want to do this. We want to push our heels into the ground, allow our belly button to come between our thighs so that we feel the hamstrings and the glutes are activated and loading already. Now, instead of me thinking about pushing my feet into the ground so that my head goes toward the sky, all I'm thinking about is pushing my hips forward. So my hips are going to go forward and I'm going to squeeze my glutes in the top position. And to reverse that motion, we're going to push the butt back, shift the weight to the heels, and then slowly come back down to the chair. Now, this is a movement you can practice every time you stand up from a chair throughout your day. But to make it even more effective and really get the best benefit from practicing your hip hinge, you can even set an alarm on your phone to go off 2, 3, 4, or 5 times a day. And it just says sit to stand. Every time this alarm goes off, what you want to do is a few sit to stands, slow and controlled with perfect form. Over time, you can build from doing 1, 2, or 3 to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or even 10 throughout the day. This is going to help you strengthen your legs, teach you how to load through the hips rather than the knees, and make it so that you can do so many more things in your daily life because you're building strength throughout your day. And while this step is amazing, the final step is what will absolutely bulletproof your knees, making them feel amazing again. This fourth and final step is going to be how you bulletproof your knees. And this one is really important for challenging things like walking down a flight of stairs pain-free again. And it's really important to take this one slow and practice it frequently. So follow along. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to find something like a chair or a countertop to use to help support your balance. From there, you're going to put one foot down on the ground, squeeze the ground with your toes, and then transfer your weight over the center of that foot by keeping your belly button, nose, and foot in one alignment. And again, use the chair for support and balance at first as you're practicing this movement. Then you're going to stick your leg out in front, lift your toes to your nose, and all you're going to do is bend slightly through the knee without wobbling from side to side and tap your heel down to the ground, and then press the whole foot down on the ground and stand back up straight. Now you want to practice this movement for 1 minute every single day until you're able to do this without needing your hand on the chair for support. So the first step is to improve your balance and your coordination by making sure you're doing this really small movement with perfect form. Now, over time, the best way to make progress is to slowly try to tap your heel more and more forward in front of your body. So this is what that might look like. At first, once you're able to balance, you might tap it just a few inches in front of your toes. Then, over time, it might go a few inches more forward. And then, over time, it might go a few inches more forward. The further you can bring your heel in front of your knee, the stronger your knee becomes for things like walking down the stairs, slowing down from a running pace, or any other activity that involves the knees. But again, take your time with this movement. Practice it every day and watch what happens if you're consistent, because this movement will bulletproof your knees and allow you to do the things you want to do pain-free again. These 4 steps will help you fix your knees, making them feel good again. But there's other movements that will make your whole body feel good again as long as you have the right movements for your body and you do them in the right order. So, if you want us to build you a personalized movement and stretching plan that will make your body feel so much better that you can do from the comfort of your own home in just 10 minutes or less, then all you have to do is click the link below and you can try WeShape out for free. Otherwise, I really hope these 4 steps fix your knees and make them feel so much better.